SoFi has done it. We've gotten right back to that $25 level, closing at 25.02. We tested that 25.25, saw a little bit of selling pressure, guys, but nevertheless, we do close in a very healthy fashion as the buyers react well with the overall market surging after Powell spoke. Last time we did test that range, we did see a lot of selling pressure, guys, bringing us back down to the floor. Each time we did test that range, lots of selling pressure. We see the first time we hit that $25 level, buyers can't hold that position. Lots of selling pressure given that top wick. We try to get back up there, close lower. We try to get back up once again, reject. And now we see that very nice reaction and buyers have hit our price target once again. So those of you that have been following the channel, congrats to you guys that have stuck around and stayed for that $25 level. If you're in a long-term position, short-term position, whatever it may be, this is a great momentum shift, seeing this solid green bar trending right to the spot where we are looking for that break. All right, guys, take you to the weekly time chart. Seeing the long term of this movement, we see a very healthy run, guys. And on the channel, if you've been keeping up with what we've been analyzing, we saw that past $25 level be a hard resistance. We see near the IPO range, we cannot get over that $25 after finding that all-time high of 28.26. It was a very stubborn zone, kind of double topping here, descending further, leading into around a 2.5-year kind of chop range. Price not doing too much until building up some energy with this resistance, breaking out, creating this cup and handle like pattern, guys, this long-term cup and handle, which then led us down to A52 being the bottom of that handle. We surged up in this very overextended movement that we are seeing ourselves in right now. The 25 held up a strong resistance like we saw in the past, but buyers continued to stay in the game. Had a couple attempts back towards that zone, kind of couldn't get that, just rejected. Lots of back and forth with the buyers and sellers, but now we finally see in a solid fashion closing at that $25 level. So what should we expect from this, guys? Should we expect an all-time attempt? Well, the price target on the channel after breaking through that 25 in a nice clean fashion would be that 28.26, as there's not a whole lot holding us back, right? This was an IPO zone. It was a very long time ago, guys, but I think that if we could fully break out of this $25 zone in a nice fashion, the bulls are on a very overextended, nice, beautiful run up. I mean, this is the strongest SoFi has ever looked without a doubt, guys. Just a very beautiful continuation. We are overextended, but time and time again, buyers show us why we should not be bearish on the stock. And now the overall market has gotten some very nice momentum to it with yesterday's price action in the overall market, right? Powell signaling that interest rates may be cut as early as September, and overall bullish momentum seeking into the market. It's exactly what SoFi needed for that extra move to the upside. We look very, very good on the weekly. All right, guys, turning to the daily time frame, we see the most recent price action really strong here, guys, engulfing most of the more recent kind of chop range here when we were kind of going between that 22 and 25, battling it out, trying to get that move to the upside. Like we explained, guys, we had that very nice movement once we broke out of that descending kind of channel there, guys, that descending range. We broke out, very nice buyers in that ultimate control. Find that chop range of 2073 and 2242. Then we try to make a premature move to 25, get rejected, try to get back up there, hold lower. We could only get to 23.76. And then we find this nice ascending support, guys, which leads us a little bit higher. But once again, kind of reject there. We can't get a movement back to 25, but we hold that ascending profile. And then we test right around that range. We only got to around 24.91, so very close. This was the more notable attempt at 25 since we saw that initial attempt up. But then we did get rejected, guys, and sellers tried to ride that momentum downwards, right? Taking that off, seeing a better perspective. Tried to ride that momentum downwards and push us back within this chop range here that we were in for quite some time. But guys, newer traders, if you see a long lower wick like that, that means the buyer stepped in. So sellers tried to push us down around that level. So to be completely exact, sellers got us around that 21.27. 21.25-ish level during that day, but buyers bought it right back up, closing within this general range of 22.42 and 23.76, just at that level. So that shows that buyers aren't letting sellers ride this momentum here that they got from that rejection, and they did buy stock back up, remaining inside this range. And then that leads us to a nice buyer move to the upside, solid green bar showing that buyers are strong with this correction. And then now, guys, with the overall market moving upwards, SoFi was no stranger to a very nice reaction, showing the most prominent green wide candle that we have gotten for a very long time, guys. If you look at past history, we have not gotten this type of buyer dominance in a very long time with SoFi. We saw a very nice move to the upside, guys. We're talking around 8% roughly to the upside. We've trended healthy up to that zone. Definitely looking nice for that complete break of that zone. Finally, guys, entering that all-time high territory. What you'd like to see is a continuation and the overall market should be continuing for, a week to a couple of weeks before seeing a, real attempt at a pullback. Anything is possible, but we are definitely looking bullish for the short term. So what you want to see is a continued movement to the upside, right? We might see some rejection here, might see a little bit of selling pressure as this is a new zone, which is completely understandable, but you do want to see price kind of, if it does come back down here, finally use that 25 harsh resistance as very nice support. You want to see that $25 level turn into some nice support, as this will definitely be aiding our movements to the upside and towards that $28 level. So you either want to see price continue in a volatile motion that we've seen it in right now, guys, with volume increasing, aiding these big volatile spikes to the upside, or you do want to see at least price continue its movement a bit more. If it does pull back, use this 25 as support and continue trending to the upside. But this is exactly where we get the break. This is the move that we needed for the buyers. So you want price to stay volatile, right? Trending in the past, guys, we see that stock can be volatile. When we went into this descending range / this kind of handle of that long-term cup and handle, you see price really, really volatile here. Overextended movement, but once we get in this range, we're up. Buyers push us to the top of that resistance. Sellers get a big move downwards. Try to test that. Then sellers get a very drastic move to the downside, bouncing off that support. Lots of ping pong action back and forth and lots of volatility. And then we do kind of tighten up. Once we break that range there, guys, we see obvious tightening of price action, kind of seep out. And once we fully get out of that range in a healthy manner, break some of those harsher resistances, right? That $14.80, that rough $15 level, as those were kind of holding up as harsh resistance markers. We broke those, solidified our movement to the upside, and that's where we see buyer dominance to around that range of 2073 and 2242. So SoFi generally is a very strong stock, guys, as we've seen in more recent times, and it has the ability to really get in those buyer dominance moves to the upside. Price continue to the upside. Like I said, use that as support. Continue. If we see that, guys, there's no doubt in my mind that we will be reaching around those all-time high levels. There's a very good possibility we could be breaking through those levels before we do see a real pullback. So if we do end up somehow seeing a rejection here, guys, and staying within this pocket of $20.25, that being another rejection at that 25, then you could be seeing a pullback. But the fact that the overall market has moved nicely and we have closed so nice by the buyers, guys, solid green candle, the best price action that we've seen over the last couple of months, I have a very strong feeling that we are going to fully break this $25 level, with our price targets being $28. And then I think we could definitely be reaching all-time highs right around that psychological $30 level before we see any sort of pullback. If the pullback was going to happen, it was this harsh seller pressure here with that rejection of 25. One of these movements where we got rejected, and if we do end up getting rejected here, then you could be seeing a pullback. But I think we continue this overextended move to the upside for a bit longer, judging off this price action. All right, guys, turning to the hourly chart, we get a better perspective of the shorter term price action. This is the first time we see that $25 level get hit. So we see a premature gap up, continuation to 25.11, and was just a very fast movement as we kind of chopped around this range. Then, out of nowhere, boom, try to retest that zone. And that's where we get shot down pretty tough. But we do remain in that zone and hold up that support of 2073, that being an incredible support, very strong. And we see price try to trend upwards. We kind of create this descending notion here. We get shot down back to the floor. But once again, what holds up that support? And then we find this ascending profile. So we do find a little bit of ascending support. Break that descending notion. We don't hold lower again, come back to the floor. We do break that. Then we continue to the upside and fully break any descending type of pattern, as we do create a higher spot than we did last time. Do get rejected there, and then we get up to around that $25 level, that $24.91 to be exact. Hard rejection there like we saw in the past, but instead, guys, we don't come all the way back down to the floor of 2073. We do hold slightly higher. And then most recently, we've seen a very nice explosive move to the upside, getting to that $25 level and higher than that first attempt. First attempt being that 25.11. We see that 25.25 get hit, and instead of seeing a sharp pullback or any real selling pressure, we just see price get to that zone and kind of just chop around here. So we don't get that full strong break of $25, but we do look very nice here, breaking up to that zone. Small chop, no considerable selling pressure or big pullback. Definitely looking nice here for a continuation, guys. Finally getting above that zone, seeing some newer price action that we haven't seen since an IPO range. Bullish here and bullish in the overall market. If you look at some of the bigger sectors, guys, IWM, very big move to the upside, very strong green bar showing that we should be expecting continued price action there. QQQ, you just see the overall market had a very nice reaction to what was going on, guys, and SoFi had a great reaction, breaking up to that $25 level. So I think we continue this nice price action and rally. If we do somehow get rejected in the next trading day or two at that $25 level, and you start to see price come back down within that range, then you could see, a possible pullback attempt. But I think that's very unlikely. I think we finally break through this range and enter that $28 type of all-time high range, that being that IPO spot. So we haven't seen this spot really get trended above for a long, long time. I think it's time, guys. Looking really good here on SoFi. Let me know your price predictions in the comments below, both short and long term. If you guys enjoyed and want to see more SoFi content, make sure to hit that subscribe button, as I'll continue to post SoFi videos. And as always, guys, trade smart. I will see you all in the next one.